Merry Christmas!
Hi, this is Chris from Leicester Till I Die. Thank you for watching and listening. Have a very Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
This is your host, Chris.
No! God, please, no! No!
I know, I'm sorry, but he's cheap and available.
How rude!
How extremely rude. Good evening, everybody. Good afternoon, good morning, good night, good day, goodbye, hello. Wherever you are in the world, one of those will apply to you. This is LTID TV from Leicester Till I Die. Thank you for joining us. It is the prediction show. Sorry, I can't multitask, you know me. This is the prediction show. Now, a little bit different this week because we haven't got a league table because basically Brad's a lazy git, and he said to me the other day, he said, look, I'm sorry, mate, I can't be asked to do it. 1 point, yeah, that's exactly what you got, Brad, 1 point. It's because we've got games this evening still going on from game week 14. So we're going to have a look at the results that have been going on, but we haven't got a table yet to do. And this is match week 15 we're in now. Wow, we are over 2/3 of the way through the season. I've got to say hi to Craig and all LFC fans. Merry Christmas to you all. Ho, ho, ho. Is everybody jingling their bells? That is the question. And if so, be sure you're not doing them. You've closed the blinds. And John is in. Hi, John. How are you doing? Also, we've got to say a big, huge congratulations to Dave. He's not going to be with us this week because he's become a granddad again. Don't know any more details than that. He did tell me earlier on, but I've been a few hours, so I've forgotten what he said. But it's popped out a week or so early, but congratulations to him. So he is not at home, and he's in a bad signal area, and obviously he's got other things to do. We have got the most amazing guest on, though, to stand in for him. Honestly, I can't believe that this icon of the music industry has agreed to come on. Well, let me just look. There he is. What can I say? The third man from ZZ Top. There he is. You know all their songs? I hope so, because I can't think of one. But I've got to say, it's grateful. He's tuning in all the way from America. Fantastic. He may even give us a tune later. Who knows? We will. I've lost it. I don't care anymore. I'm past caring. I really am. It's the prediction show. Good evening. Let me get my guests in, and we'll have a bit of a laugh and a bit of a silly and so how shit we are. Here we go. Good evening, everybody. How are you doing?
Good, mate. How are you? I appreciate the introduction, by the way. I'm sadly not in North America right now, but I wish I was in some ways, bearing in mind the way Europe's going.
Yes, yeah. And look, you kept your musical past very much to yourself.
Well, I did because ultimately, when you're at the top of ZZ Top, you don't have to say anything, Chris. It literally is there for the world to see. So beyond that, there's nothing for me else to say.
And is it true with sort of a beard like that when you have a meal that you can, top yourself up a couple of hours later, just pick out what's dropped in the beard?
It is true, but what you don't know is there's not a lot of hair anywhere else. I'll leave that to imagination.
Yes, thank you. I think we better. How's your how's your hair going, Brad?
No comment after what Tom's just said. I'm not saying anything, Your Honour. Nothing that can hold up in a court of law.
Well, like I've often said, Tom may not be actually in ZZ Top, but he should be in YY Fronts. It's an old joke. I've said it about 20 times, and I'll carry on saying it until basically somebody laughs.
It's probably meant to be my future, mate. It's probably a joke that becomes reality. We'll end up in a ZZ Top tribute band somewhere down the line.
Or we just see you one day sat there in your Y Fronts.
Well, exactly, which has happened on YouTube before, and I'll implore people to go out and try and find it, but it is out there, actually. It's true.
I was only joking then. I didn't know.
The irony of jokes being reality. No. There was some films 10 years ago where I pretended to be a professional wrestler in comedy purposes and ran around London in a pair of Speedos. True story. Comedy.
Yes.
You weren't expecting that, like when I meant the comment about me performing in a club in Toronto last week to you as well, and you were like, oh my God.
Well, the club in Toronto, fine. I mean, Brad, I hope you've made a note of the time. We're going to have to go and find this, aren't we?
Oh, yeah, definitely. We're going. This is just this.
Chris, I will send it to you, Chris, and let you pass it around and let you be judge on it, honestly, because it is real, I promise you.
I await it with bated breath, or something like that. But hey, it's proven a bit easier, this prediction lark, isn't it, Brad?
Yeah, it's a little bit better. Maybe we should just go back to championship rules and doing 2 weekends. I mean, you're actually having I'm sure you'll get Clarkson loaded up, so I'll give you a time to do it. You're having a stupendous week. I'm having an okay week. I thought I was having a good week until that. And there is 2 games left to go, but you'll be good news for you, Chris, is I could only probably get a point behind you or a level on points with you because we've gone for the exact same 1 in 1 and we've gone opposites in the other. So still.
Well, I mean, Dave last week, I tell you what, just on last Saturday's results, and let's have a look at this, and just bear with us, Tom, because I know for yourself, you weren't with us for those, but basically, the first week Dave came back, he got virtually everything right, and me and Brad didn't. But for match week 13, which was the weekend results, which included obviously the Brentford game, you got 7, Brad.
Yeah, that's what I mean. And then Chris went and spoiled it all by
getting 7.
Yes. But you went and spoiled it even more, didn't you?
Yeah, and Dave also went and got 7.
Somehow, with 2 bloody predictions right at the end, didn't he?
Yes, he was 1 point up until the Sunday, then got 2 spot on. And Tom, you actually, because I messaged you and said, what did you do so we could use it on the Monday night for the review show? And you actually got 6 points basing it on our system here. So you better than the week before when you got 1.
Yeah, exactly. And I was defending myself on the first week going, I wasn't far off because it was a goal in between whatever. But in the same way that Brad, I'm going to give Brad some credit here. You have, if you're good at this, you have 6 or 7 point weeks and then you have 1 point weeks. That's the way it works. But you've got to be aiming for the 7s. You've got to be brave.
Yeah, well, yes, what can I say? I mean...
And I'm going to be brave tonight, mate. I'm going to be brave tonight with some of these predictions. You wait.
Well, be interesting. How did you do on the midweek games so far, Brad?
I'm actually doing fairly average, probably good. I mean, I know the credit's coming your way, mate. You've had an absolute blinder. I mean, it only took Wayne finishing on 0 points and getting kicked out of the league that might keep you still bottom. But I would imagine that not many people above you have done quite well.
We are not kicking Wayne out of the league.
We are kicking Wayne out. He's not
no, we're not.
Mate.
I tell you, we are going to kick out. Right, let's kick out, Brad.
I was going to say, don't kick Wayne out. Wayne's lovely.
No, it's a different Wayne.
It's a different way, and it's the rules within the league. But to be fair, Chris, after the midweek you are having, bear that in mind, there are still 2 games to go. You've had a stormer, but I've done reasonably well for that. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 points, I think, and still 2 to go. But Chris, wow, 6, 7, 8. So it's only a couple of points difference. I could still pull it back.
2 correct ones in there.
Yes,
as well.
very well done. I was definitely not sat here going Villa score again, but well done, mate. And I did say to you whether it was 3-1 or 3-2, I don't care as long as Leicester won the game. I was happy to give you them points. I've checked VAR. They said Chris can't have them though, so that's 3 less for you, mates.
Yeah. That's why I'm writing them down. Not saying
me and Chris both predicted 3-1 to Leicester, didn't we, on the Brentford on the West Ham game, didn't we? Yeah.
If goalkeepers weren't so well protected, I'd have got it right with 3-2.
Can I just say
this is my point, Brad, about being
so difficult not to look smug at this point.
I mean, you still. All I can tell you this is, Chris. Right, if results stay as they are right now, and you don't get many more points, you'll still be below me in the league. So,
I'm taking satisfaction in at the start of the season when you were, I think, in the nosebleed region of sort of 5th or 6th, that you've dropped right down the table.
Yeah,
and who was bragging right at the start about being double Premier League prediction champion?
I'm going to do an Jose Mourinho on you. 2 times, man, 2 times. One between all of you. Respect, man. Respect, man. Respect.
Can I just say, Tom, when he won those 2, there was only 3 of us in the league, and one of those was Steve Linex.
Chris, for 2 years.
He couldn't predict what shoes he was putting on in the morning. So, I mean, it wasn't much. God. Anyway, but there was some strange results, wasn't there, last Saturday? I mean, Leicester, we'll ignore that. Southampton getting a point on the South Coast derby. Forest doing us a favour against Ipswich. Wolves on the way back. I mean, it was the Gary O'Neill derby, getting stuffed by Bournemouth 4-2. And I've got to say, Bournemouth are playing. Who are they playing this week? Ipswich. They're away at Ipswich. We're going to have the video report on that on Monday night. Villa were struggling. Man United, well, Amarin seems to sort of waved his magic wand, and Man City were just getting, been doing the best impersonation of Spurs I've seen in many a season. And then, of course, we had the midweek games, which some of us did better than others on. Palace Ipswich 1-0. I didn't get that. I went for the draw. And then Leicester. Who predicted 3-1 to Leicester, Tom?
Only the people on this channel, mate, who've got the best advice possible, and that's why you need to tune into our shows.
Indeed. But basically, 2 out of 3 ain't bad, as Wheatloaf once said.
No, it's fine. I mean, ultimately, the great thing about the Premier League this year, eradicating Brian Clough over there to my left.
It's not looking. I can do what I want.
I know you can do what you want. It's your channel, my friend. But and he can do what he wants. As we'll have to censor that for the post, display. But, no. The great thing about the Premier League this year is there is still an angle where there is momentum which affects the result of the games beyond consequences of how good you are. And I'm going to use a few of my predictions tonight in this show to show you what I mean by that. So,
well, can I just say, I mean, did anybody, and you'll be able to tell me this, Brad, did anybody predict Newcastle 3, Liverpool 3?
I'm going to say no, because I didn't bother checking everybody's predictions because they'd put 2 weeks worth in. I'd rather just wait until it's all done to add it up. But I cannot imagine anybody in their wildest went for that. And I was actually a little bit gutted in that game, Chris, because I backed Newcastle to win and they were robbed. They were robbed of a 4-3 win. There you go.
If it wasn't that bloody VAR, I'd have won. Doug, thank you very, very much, sir. You are a gentleman there, a gentleman indeed. I appreciate that. Thank you. Can I just say, I was out last night with a Liverpool fan, and we were at a concert, and he kept turning his mobile phone on, and he was happy down, happy down. He was like all over the place last night. I think he forgot there was a concert going on. But
I remember the first day I moved to Canada, Chris. I was up in a hostel on the roof watching Leicester versus Fulham in the FA Cup when we were in the Championship, and Lloyd Dyer. Remember, was it like 4-3 to Leicester?
Yeah.
It was one of those games we fought back on. Yeah, so I know what you mean. You remember the moments when you talk about a game with someone and where you are at the time. It's beautiful.
You do. Liverpool, Doug is obviously Liverpool is the Doug fan. Who knows? There might be, but Doug is a Liverpool fan, and he's probably a bit annoyed last night. I don't think it's looking, and it's not all over yet. It's not, it's not Liverpool's title, but Liverpool, I think it is theirs to lose. But look, let's have a look at the games this week. It is the prediction show after all, and here we go. And match number 1. Brad, it's on Saturday morning, 12:30 kickoff. It's the match that Tom's going to be watching and be reporting on the review show Monday night. It's the Merseyside derby, and let's face it, Everton are going on to this, and it must be on a high after stuffing Wolves.
I mean, you'd think that, but then Wolves should have been on a high after thumping Fulham, and look what that's done them no favours. I mean, we'll talk about the El Sacchio second to last, if you will, with the fixtures and how they completely run. But just so you know, Chris, we can have fun tonight and rotating it because I have yet to make my predictions either. So, so tonight could be fun. Unfortunately, Tom, you are still called Dave. I'm just going to put Dave 33.
It's funny though, you say that. I had a friend of mine at uni who we called Barry for 4 years, and we found out he was actually called something completely different 4 years later. He never corrected us, so that's not a problem.
Oh, well, fair. There you go. You're right, Dave, age 33. I mean, look, they should be on a high, and they'll probably make it a little bit difficult, but it's got to be Liverpool, hasn't it? The teams near the bottom, with the greatest of respects, that includes us in at the moment, we're having scrappy games and then awful games and then oh my god we look brilliant games. That's literally how we are. The majority of them are oh my god this is scrappy, this is hard to watch. I feel like Everton might go and shock the system a little bit, and then Arnie Slot will work his magic at half time. I'm going to go Everton 1, Liverpool 3.
Ooh.
I feel like that we'll get a little bit of an encouragement from him, but the second Liverpool turn the tap and start scoring goals, they're in for a pasting, Everton.
I mean, it is at Goodison Park. Look, Tom, they've met 64 times in the Premier League. Everton have only won 11 of those, but the last time they met, which was back in April, it was a 2-0 win for Everton.
I fancy this is where I'm going to be the controversial guy. I said to you we went on the show that I was going to make a controversial prediction here. I think Everton are going to win. I think they're going to win 1-0. And my reason why is because it's their last game at Goodison Park against Liverpool. I think they come off a 4-0 win in the midweek against Wolves. I think there's confidence behind them. I think when they play their best, they can defend. And also, I just feel the energy of the day and the circumstance with Man City winning. I think, the way the world works, it's not quite science. It's kind of more fluid. So I'm going to be brave here. I'm going to go Everton 1, Liverpool 0. I'll also say I think Salah might miss a penalty.
I mean, there's a very thin line between brave and stupid.
Which I'm really happy.
Funny enough, you should say that because I've written 1-0 in as he said it, and right next to Dave, age 33, I've put drugs ?
I think drugs to make me go for a 4-1 Liverpool win, my friend.
Look, Liverpool are I mean, this is just based on the last 4 games. You don't tend to go that much further back. At the moment, form means absolutely nothing, does it? But Liverpool are third. They've not lost in 4. Everton are in 12th place in the form table. They've only lost once, and that was to Man City 4-0. Or was it Manchester United? It was Manchester United, wasn't it? Sorry, yeah. They beat Wolves, which probably isn't that difficult, but they have drawn with West Ham and Brentford. Was it anybody? If it was anybody other than Liverpool, I wouldn't be saying this, because I just think Everton will give them a scare. You're quite right, Brad, with yours. But Everton, we've got to remember the big thing with this is that Everton have got Sean Dyche as manager.
It's their last game at Goodison Park against Liverpool as well. Don't forget, they'll be energised for that.
No.
Remember, we were crap in the Premier League the year we left Filbert Street. We still beat Tottenham on the final day.
Yeah, it's true. But
this isn't the final day of the season with nothing to play for, though, Tom.
Yeah.
Well, true, but still, we're like, we shouldn't have won that game with the team we had then. We were terrible.
I think it's going to be tight because these games always are tight. And Everton do raise the bar when it comes to as most teams do when it comes to derbies. I'm not going to agree with Brad, but I am going to go 2-1 to Liverpool. I do think Liverpool there's just something about them. Fair play to Newcastle, they got that point, and Nottingham Forest have beaten them, but at times they just look like a juggernaut, and this is Arne Slot's first Liverpool derby, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I mean, this is why I'm happy to look stupid in my prediction, Chris, because I'm just kind of like, all the signs add up to something which doesn't make sense logically, but ultimately I can feel it. So I just feel there's something here. Ultimately, I'm going to say this to you guys. Give me the point if it's 1-1 as well, but I think it'll be 1-1 Everton.
No, that doesn't work like that, does it, Brad?
I know it doesn't work like that, but I'm the only one who's going to put my balls on the line here and go, I think Everton might win this.
I tell you what, Tom, when Liverpool are 3-0 up after 37 minutes, do let us know the detail of the hospital you've checked yourself into so we can send you letters and come visit you.
Please send me a video, mate, and I'll happily laugh at it and be like, yeah, you're right.
I will do, mate.
Yeah, you'll be in too much pain having had your balls trod on. Let's have a look what people are saying in the chat. John he's agreed with you. Everton 1, Liverpool 3, sod off, Brad.
Hey, John, I've not filled mine in. I'm making these up on the cuff. I can't even sign on to Twitter, so I might need Chris's help doing the points because Twitter keeps logging me out. I can't even get on to it.
I've had problems. My Instagram has been buggered up because only just started working today, so it's obviously the weather. But Craig, what a good man. I like the cut of this man's jib. He's gone Everton 1, Liverpool 2. LCFC Forever has agreed with you two guys. He's gone Everton 1, Liverpool 3. And the Liverpool fan, Doug, who in fairness is very fair and he isn't biased, and he's gone for a tight game there. Everton 0, Liverpool 1. Surprisingly, Tom, nobody's agreed with you.
Well, Chris, I didn't expect them to. As soon as you asked me on the show tonight, I was looking at it and going, the thing is, last week I had a gut feeling about Fulham Tottenham where I felt it would be a draw, but I still leaned towards the narrative of what is meant to happen. Yes. And I'm just kind of like, I'm now in the moment here, and I'm drafting last minute for this show. So I'm just going to go with my gut feeling and see if that affects my points for next week in a good way or a bad way.
I will say this, Chris, you think that's bizarre. He tried to steal the award off Anthony. I've just managed to sort of Twitter out. I don't know why it's being a douche to me for. Checking all the results. Everybody's going, Liverpool win. And of course, the most awkward man ever in the world. He supports every team that plays in red, to give you a clue. His name's
Anthony by any chance.
It is. And he's gone for a Desmond on that game.
Which could happen.
You should start.
I tell you what really is filling Dave's boots. You know what? You're right, Dave 2.0. They could win, they could draw, and they could lose. It's just how football is, mate.
Can I raise an interesting angle here? It's their last game at Goodison with Liverpool. And ultimately, if they don't turn up for this, they will probably get relegated. Because ultimately, you've got to turn up.
I'm going to take your angle and I'm going to raise you two angles.
Okay.
2 words, Sean and Dyche.
Yes.
Say no more.
Yeah, but he's Cooper if Cooper was actually good.
No. No. Back me up here, Brad. I'm
You've never said that before. Back me up, Brad. I love this.
no.
Oh, what was the argument you two were having?
I'm causing chaos being a part-timer on this show. This is crazy.
Oh dear. No, what dribble and rubbish is he spouting now, Chris? What's he said?
He said that Sean Dyche if Cooper was good.
Yeah, so it's me and Chris for this show. Tom's. No, I mean, come on. Whatever you were smoking before the show went live, I think you need to put it down. Go get help. See about it, mate.
I don't live in Amsterdam, my friend. I live in Devon, so unfortunately that isn't true. But
I tell you what, Devon. There's nowhere like Devon for getting them lace curtains twitching. I'll tell you.
The California of England, right?
Yeah, exactly. Next game, and this is the first of the 3:00 kickoffs. Aston Villa, who came back with a good win midweek, beating Brentford, who are absolutely awful away from home, but absolutely unstoppable at home, as we'll come to later. Beating them 3-1 up against the Southampton side. The only thing I can say about Southampton, Brad, is Russell Martin still there?
Yeah, that is like the mystery of all integrity in football. How the hell is that absolute buffoon still in charge of a job? How has he still got one? I would say it could cost them at the end of the season, but the fact that they're 4 points off 17th and 18th, and they're a further 6 points or 7 points off safety. And the next opponents after that tanking they suffered midweek is Aston Villa away. It's safe to say we know who first in the Championship will be replacing next season, because I don't think respect. I don't think Jose Mourinho could come in and save Southampton. Not that he'd want to. The irony is coming up to Christmas and the Saints feel like they're in hell. You know what, Chris? It's happened.
I think you can say the Saints have definitely stopped marching, haven't they?
Oh yeah, they've all fallen over. Yes. I don't think that Aston Villa is going to be as generous as Chelsea and give them a goal. I'm going Aston Villa 4, Southampton 0.
Cool.
I've just written mine down then.
That's it, mate. This is there any you think of? Yeah.
I'll go second on this one then. Yeah, Southampton are in trouble. I don't know what point they've got to make that decision about changing the manager. I was actually enjoying being on a West Ham channel earlier. Not as a guest, I was just in the chat. It was the guy that the West Ham Massive, Rob, great guy, a good friend of the channel. And they were going absolutely, they want Lopetegui out. They absolutely don't want him, but apparently he's there for the this game.
Sacco, isn't it, Chris, for a reason?
Yeah, and I can see Southampton fans starting to do the same as well. And this is actually making me smile, because I thought, thank God we went and got Rude, because if
Rod Van Nistelrooy, what a name. Rod Van Nistelrooy, his brother.
But what a game. If West Ham get rid of Lopetegui, that might actually interest Potter, funnily enough, and they all want Potter. Palace could make a change. They've only won that one recently. Wolves very much could, because again they won a few, but false dawn. And Southampton, I don't know how long you stick with the guy, and you can say yes, they are, getting better, and they're not, the fight.
How are they getting better with 5 points on the board? They can't be getting any better if they've not improved on the point situation. I don't care if you've gone from making 10 passes to 30 passes a game. If Chelsea are putting 5 past you, you're fucking shit.
Yes, I think he's in trouble. I think he could go. I think everybody would look and say, well, look at Leicester's great escape, but these things don't come around that often. And they're going to need something greater than the Great Escape at this rate. I've gone almost the same as Brad, but I think Southampton will score because they are fighters, and I've gone 4-1.
Oh, okay. So, how many are Southampton winning by in your drug world, Tom?
I was going to say, I'm going to go for Aston Villa 1, Southampton 2.
No.
Seriously. Yeah, because the thing is, I've been watching Villa now for the Premier League review for weeks on weeks. I know you're turning around, Brad, but I'm watching games weeks on week here. Villa have dried up apart from scoring from corners, which Southampton
can't defend them, so you fecked.
Well, you say that, yeah, I know, but they're worse defending out from the back than they are defending corners, and I think they can actually move forward more. So, I'm not doing this just to create a scene. I just generally think,
I'll embarrass you on Monday.
Well, I know, mate, but that's my point. I mean, I'm someone in my life where, like, if I think something can happen, I'm more than happy to put my balls on the line for it. And I just got a feeling with this one, Southampton are due some sort of result at some point. Villa haven't played well the last few games at all. The last 3 or 4 games, they've looked incredibly average. Southampton had a fight against Brighton the other night. They were fighting on the side of the pitch, which I respect, as you know, being an ice hockey fan. So I'm going to go for a Southampton win. I'm sorry.
I will say to you on that, Tom, that's twice you put your balls on the line, and we've only gone 2 games in, and you've only got 2 balls, so you're buggers for the show.
Exactly. Next, it'll be my pelvis, and then it'll be my spine, and then it'll be my lungs. It'll move up my whole body.
On a black market at this rate.
If anybody watches the show on Monday night and I'm on my own, you'll know Tom's got no body
Chris,
part left.
It's either this way. It's either on Monday I get slammed or I get applauded.
You will, yes. And if Tom's on his own,
actually,
I'll be too embarrassed to come on.
We should remember, actually, we absolutely ripped to shreds Steve Lynex with reasonable understanding as to why. But he actually did predict Watford to end Liverpool's unbeaten run in that season.
As I did. I remember I said it at my work and everyone laughed at me who were Liverpool fans. I said, Watford are going to beat you under Pearson. And what happened?
They do say, Chris, don't they? Like, a broken clock is right twice a day. Maybe it's it. I mean, if you do, Tom, I want to see, and we're not advocating betting here when the fun stops if you do. Please go and put at least 50p on each of your predictions individually today that you go something like that for.
I tell you what, Brad. I will put a prediction on Everton to win and Southampton to win for £1. And I will share it with the group, and we can all laugh at my result if I win or not. It'll probably be like 20 to 1, right?
I can imagine it's quite decent, yeah.
Thing is, though, I don't know what you're saying, Tom. I really don't. I mean,
I don't.
Most people don't. Most people don't. It's fine.
No. Brentford, who absolutely, let's be honest with you, wiped their arse with us, didn't they? You know, they took us one. And then they are beaten by Villa 3-1.
This is my point, Chris. We don't use logic. We use logic in the wrong way sometimes, and we ignore some things that are very apparent, like energy. And I think Villa have lost the last 3 games. They've not been very good. Southampton have tried and fought, at least. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt and see what happens. That's all I can say.
Even away from home?
Yes, 100%, because you've got to win at some point.
Well, like I say, I will take the knee on Monday night if you've got those first 2 right. Let's see if anybody agrees with you. I wonder if anybody does. 2-0 says John. 3-1 says Craig. These are all to Villa, by the way. David agrees. Dyche Coops all day long. 5-2. David has gone for to Villa. LCFC's gone 3-1. Brighton doing a Southampton passing out from the back and conceded.
But Villa don't attack that. That's my point, Chris. Villa don't attack those presses. They don't do it. So there's no threat to Southampton.
He's really advocating for this win, isn't he?
Well, it's strategy, mate. It's strategy. It's football manager tactics, isn't it? You know, if it was Wolves, it'd be different. But it's not. The
way you're speaking, if you're playing football manager tactics, expecting Southampton to to overturn this game and win it, then I want your tactics if this happens, so I know how to start winning leagues with my teams.
I'll let you know, mate. You can be my assistant.
All right, so I'm dreading what's coming up, Brad, I'll tell you.
You should invite me on, Chris, I told you.
I needed a laugh. Brentford are hosting Newcastle. They're at home. Newcastle's form is, let's be honest with you, up and down. I mean, Brentford are sixth, and they just lost that one to Villa that we've just mentioned. They stuffed us 4-1. They could only manage a draw with Everton, but they did manage to beat Bournemouth. Sorry. Newcastle, they're down in 11th in the form. They've lost one in the last four. That was to West Ham. They beat Forest. They drew with Crystal Palace, and they drew with Everton. Becoming a bit of the draw specialists. It's at home, and Brentford do very, very well at home. I was actually watching Match of the Day last night, and when I got in, and Mika Richards was saying the style of play, Brentford don't change it from home and away. And when they're at home, with the crowd behind them, it works. When they're away, it doesn't. Newcastle are going to be buoyed by that draw last night. I can see what John has said, and that's quite a thought. I'm actually going to be. I'll go first on this one, and I'm going to go 2-1 to Brentford.
Oh, all right. Oh, my local drug dealer. What are you going for?
He has got that look about him, hasn't he?
I mean, you said that. I was only insinuating. You backed up the point.
And I was ignoring the comment, trying to go, "Who's he talking about?" Okay. Right. Bear in mind, I look like I should be in a canal in Amsterdam. We'll go for Brentford 3, Newcastle 2.
Oh, so you're going for a Brentford win, 3-2. That's not a bad shout, actually. That isn't.
I think there's goals in this. There's goals in this.
Yeah,
I'm going the same way as you guys.
Probably means Brad's going 0-0.
I'm glad you got the drugs I sent you then, mate.
Yeah, I did. Oh, I can't believe it.
That's why he's turned the camera off. It's his OnlyFans channel, right?
I've just rolled one up. I've just done some calculations like Tom, and Brentford usually score 6 at home and Newcastle score 4 away. So I've gone for.
I'm going to have to go back to the start of this and put a drugs warning up, aren't I?
You actually are. Look, Brentford have been phenomenal at home. We saw their home form would have them top of the league. Thomas Frank's going to put a petition in to get home form be the new league table. Maybe that's why they absolutely mop the floor with us. Newcastle are still hot and cold. You look at their form and fixtures, it feels like they're going to do what they do to Liverpool, and then they can't go and beat bloody, I don't know, Crystal Palace or something like that. They've got to draw against Crystal Palace. That's an apt warning there, to be honest with you. So I'm going to go same way as you guys have, but I'm not giving any goals to Newcastle. I'm going Brentford 2, Newcastle United 0.
Ooh, interesting. And
I live with a Newcastle fan, remember this, so I've got to say that quietly.
Yeah, I have put that up there, and I have to say, if you are under 18, please go and get parents' permission to be watching this. John,
may I say that we will not do these jokes any further because I wasn't intending on these jokes.
Brentford 2, Newcastle 2. John's gone for the first Desmond of the evening. There's been an earthquake in California, San Francisco. Wow. Hope everybody's all right.
Yeah, hopefully so. America's had a bad couple of days, haven't they?
Yeah.
Oh, bless
Craig has gone Newcastle 1, Brentford 1. I think everybody else is probably trying to find your number, Tom, because they've all just the chat.
They think I'm distributing some sort of illegal narcotic.
He isn't, by the way. He isn't. We jest. There's no good messaging him on Facebook.
No. I'll be like, dude, literally, like, I can tell you where your nearest Spar is to buy some Carling. That's about it.
Right.
Other beer brands available.
Next up, we have the last of the 3 o'clock. We've only got 3 o'clock kickoffs on the Saturday. Crystal Palace are hosting Manchester City. Interesting. I'm going to let you go first this time, Tom. Palace got a win the other day, although it was against Ipswich the other night, I should say. And fair play to them. That was a 6-pointer. And I think Ipswich fans are maybe beginning to think, oh, dear. because that was something they needed to get at least a point off. They got none.
Yeah, they did.
Manchester City are back on it, but I mean, Manchester City, if you look at the form table based on the last four, they're actually down in 17th place. They've actually got the same number of points from the last four games as we have. They lost to Brighton, they lost to Spurs, they lost to Liverpool, which was a huge game. But of course, they came back against Nottingham Forest, who themselves are no fools. It wasn't like they were playing, Southampton or anything. I'm taking it from this one, you're going for a Palace win.
No, actually, Chris, because I've already shown myself up so far, in the media world. So actually, no, I'm going for Palace 0, Man City 2. 2 goals for Haaland.
0-2. 0-2.
Yeah, I think Man City will get back-to-back wins, because they had a good performance the other night, and ultimately it wasn't going to last forever, right? They're going to win eventually, so I think they'll win this one 2-0.
Yeah. Brad?
Yeah, I mean, usually Palace are a team that when, Man City are flying high and racing away with it, they kind of cause a shock, don't they? I think you'll look over it and go, Palace have snuck a draw or something off them.
They normally win away at Old Trafford quite a lot. But
they do that. They are good at it. However, sod's law for Palace, they've already had their mini meltdown, haven't they, Man City? And I just see them getting back on track. I do think it's going to be a little bit tighter than what Forest put up as resistance. But I am still going Crystal Palace 0, Manchester City 2.
Oh,
wow.
That was close. So if
I was really going to go 3, so if that's what you're about to tell me, you can be a very happy man.
Yes, I am, and that is what I'm about to tell you. I've gone 3-0 to Manchester City.
I was tempted, to be honest with you, but somebody who's a Norwegian can't put his boots on properly at the moment. So maybe this is a game he realises what he's got which boot goes on which foot, but he's not been scoring, and Man City are still struggling for goals.
Yes. Well, Ant has popped in. Good evening, Ant. How are you? If everybody is not doing anything at 9 o'clock tonight, please tune in to either my channel or Ant's channel, whichever is your channel of choice. And we will be discussing the game the other night between Leicester and West Ham on City Catch-Up, which is what it's called on my channel. It should have been at 1 o'clock this afternoon, but, Ant overslept and he wasn't, up in time. And so the 1 o'clock show will be going out at 9 o'clock. So there we go. Not only 8 hours late. I mean, one more, not too bad, is it? He's going to kill me. But one thing I can say about Ant is 3-0 Manchester City. He's gone. Good man. Palace 1, Manchester City 2. John thinks Palace will get a goal. And then they're back to Newcastle games. All right, Dun Reese, take care, buddy. Brad, back to you. Manchester United, who had appeared to be getting off under Amorim, and then a big game against Arsenal last night, and they made a mess of it and lost 2-0. Forest, who were doing very, very well at one point, and in fairness to Forest, let's be honest, they are still doing very well. They're sat in 6th place, so it is only a mini blip. Which is this going to be Amorim's second win, or are they still going to struggle?
No, I think he might just get the win, or do I? Forest have suddenly gone off the boil, haven't they? I know they just lost to Man City, which you maybe could excuse because unfortunately good things all come to an end, and Man City were never going to keep losing every week like they have been. But they just seem to have faded a little bit. That top 4 magic has sort of gone just a little bit. I just feel like Manchester United are going to sort it out just a little bit, get their form back. Annoyingly, and sorry, John, because I've just seen it pop up, but I had this in my head anyway. I am going to go for Man U 2, Nottingham Forest 1.
Ooh. Oh, right. Tom, Forest didn't have Wood midweek.
No, they didn't.
Wood playing, but they obviously weren't excited by that.
No. They've kind of. I talked about before Aston Villa and Tottenham or whatever, maybe hitting a peak and not being any better. Forest might fall into that category after this week. They don't seem to be pushing on. However, Man United are still very vulnerable. They are. Irrelevant of the result against Everton, they lost to Arsenal. They didn't look anything much. So this is a really hard one to call for me because I kind of feel like I want to be brave again. Because Forest haven't had a couple of good results either. But I'll lean towards a 1-0 Man United win. Just.
Oof, right.
Just.
I mean, if you'd gone 1-0 Forest, we'd have had to have stricken you off the record.
You'd have to take me to the chamber and put me in there. Yeah, you have to get rid of me.
Oops.
Oops.
Oops. Do you want me to put a J next to yours for just? A J for just. I think this is Man United getting excited with a new manager again. And I like Forest, the way they've been playing, and I have to say, I mean, I know, but look, credit where credit's due. I like clubs that aren't in the big six, that are actually in the top six. So fair play to Forest. Look, they've had the new manager bounce, Manchester United, and they've won 2 of the last 4, but one of those was against us. They could only draw with Ipswich, which was Amarin's first game in charge. They beat Everton, which they should beat Everton. Should have made. Well, I didn't watch the game, so I don't know how they performed against Arsenal. But Forest, I mean, I'm going to have to change my mind because Forest have lost to Newcastle, lost to Arsenal, beat Ipswich, and lost to Manchester City. Having said that, you've got 3 big teams in there, haven't you? Newcastle, Arsenal, and Manchester City. If we'd have lost those 3,
don't forget, Nottingham Forest have got the biggest defenders in the Premier League as well. They're the Leicester of 2016.
Yeah.
I mean, how am I not going to deal with that at home? That's the question.
I am going to.
Anytime Chris, the game kicks off soon.
Let me think.
I've obviously got more D words to take, Chris. Let's get a move on here. I've got to be able to predict Chelsea 27 and Nottingham Forest 0 next week.
I think I used that supply that you sent me last night. I think I've used that already because I'm going for a Desmond here. I'm going.
I love it. I
tell you what, get the confetti out, everybody. Congratulations to Chris. This is a big day for Chris. No, he might not understand why. He might be confused, but Chris, including the midweek predictions, has officially done something that has only taken 15 game weeks for him to do, ladies and gentlemen. Christopher has reached 10 Desmonds. He's reached double figures for Desmond predictions. 15 game. Well done, Chris. Round of applause. Everybody in the chat, put the clap emoji in there for Chris. He's a brave man. He's collected his double figure badge. Well done, Chris.
Can I just say, I just want to sort of change a well-known saying and just say that you are not worthy. I will leave it at that. We'll just leave it at that. If that's a 2-2 now, I am going to take the piss out of you so much, Bradley, that you will not.
I'm going to spend Monday's show literally with him taking the piss out of you, Brad.
Yeah, he's going to, and he hates being called Bradley, by the way, Tom. If you ever want to piss him off, call him Bradley.
Appreciate it. I'm like that with Thomas.
John's gone 2-1 to Forest. Jessie is having a wave. Hello, Jessie. How are you? But she's no prediction. And David's gone back in the show and quoted me for Brentford for some reason, which was a couple of games ago. So that is the 5:30 kickoff on Sky on the Saturday. And then because we've had midweek games, I guess, we have got Sunday games. First one's a London derby. Fulham hosting Arsenal. Now, I'm going to say Arsenal were my choice to win the league this season, but obviously I didn't take into that the slot effect. But look, they are still in third. In Chelsea, fair play to them, on goal difference, are second. Arsenal have had maybe a little mini blip, but they've won the last three. Fulham, they tore one off us as well, didn't they, at the start of the season? They've only managed to win 2 of the last 5. And they're scoring exactly the same as they are conceding. I will go first on this one, and I am going to go 2-0 to Arsenal, because I think Arsenal have turned it around now. They've won 3 in a row. I think this will be the 4th in the row. I nearly went the same as you there, John, but I decided to be different, so I'd already gone for a couple of 2-1s. I've gone 2-0 to the Arsenal. Brad, let you go second. Sunday 2:00 kickoff.
Honestly, Arsenal have balanced themselves out from. Tom's going to knock at the door. We all know what that's for.
Those county lines are for keeping you busy, aren't they?
I was going to say, Amazon are really good, mate. It was that quick. Other courier companies available.
That was not an Amazon delivery. Don't you tell me that. That was a little guy in a black outfit with a black crash helmet on a motorbike. Sorry, Brad.
Go back to what you were doing.
Moped. That's why he's muted himself and all. Look, Arsenal turned the corner again. They got the season back on track to finish in the top 4, because that's just what Arsenal do. Fulham have been very lacklustre the last few games. That hammering by Wolves. I know people can say, "Oh, yeah, well, Fulham were down to 10 men."
But isn't he the Man United manager, hammering?
That's
hammering, isn't it? Sorry.
Oh, for God's sake, play on my words and my pronunciation. I'm hammering, same thing. Shush you. There's people that say, "Oh, yeah, but against Wolves, they were down to 10 men," but that was their own fault. They used up all the substitutions. That's what can happen in football. And they really should have just seen the game out. I think it was 1-1 or 2-1 at that point. They should have shut up shop and just gone, well, let's not risk any more injuries trying to get something from a game in this situation. Arsenal free scoring as well, comfortably beating Man U 2-0, comfortably winning 5-1 or 5-2 against West Ham, which proves anybody can beat West Ham, even Daka scores. I'm actually thinking that they're going to stay 5 alive, Chris, and I'm sorry to any Fulham fan that tunes in here, but I'm going Fulham 0, Arsenal 5.
Wow,
I was close.
Jeez, yes, we're all having our odd,
I think I'm encouraging some sort of mushroom growth in the chat here or something. There is something naturally going on organically, which is quite crazy and quite psychedelic.
Well, I can't get into my garden. It's full. There's no mushroom out there.
Oh.
Your prediction for this one, Tom, moving on very quickly.
Yes. My prediction for this is going to be Fulham 1, Arsenal 3.
Ooh, 1-3. Right.
Yeah, I think he'll score against his old club, Smith Rowe. I think he'll score a free kick. 1-3. Yeah.
Fair enough. John has gone Fulham 1, Arsenal 2. And Craig has gone 4-0 to Arsenal. So nobody's giving Fulham much of a chance.
It's interesting because most people have normally 1-0 to the Arsenal, but Arsenal scored 20 goals in 4 games or something now, including the Champions League, which is quite remarkable. And that's why they need to keep their heads down, and maybe they might win the Premier League by doing what Leicester did. Just do your own thing.
Yeah. John, I don't know if Brad is on the paracetamol. All I know is he's giving me a headache. Anyway, let us move on. The game that is going to be the video fan game on Monday night's football is Ipswich. They're desperate for a win, hosting Bournemouth. Come on, let you go first. Bournemouth, the 13th in the table. Scored 20, but they have conceded 19. They've won 5, they've lost 5. But let's not forget, in that 5, they've beaten Manchester City and Arsenal.
Yeah.
I don't know whether Bournemouth will ever be sort of like a Brentford or a Brighton and challenge for Europe. But, you know, I think they'll finish top half. I think they've got a good side there, well run. Ipswich, bless them. I don't know what they've got to do to get a win. To be honest with you,
No, I know.
you know, on form at the moment, Ipswich. Well, they're down in 14th, but they beat Tottenham, and that was a fantastic result for them. And I have to say, fair play to them because they showed the guts and courage that we weren't showing at the time, but we did against at West Ham. They drew with Manchester United, but they'd come. It was a big game for Man United. Amarin's first, Amarin first game in charge at Old Trafford, and they came back and got a draw. They lost to Forest, and obviously they've lost to Palace. They just can't get any sort of decent run going, can they? And
No.
they are going to, I think, as much as I'd love the fairy tale to be true and they stay up, I think it's going to be a difficult season for them.
Chris, you've nailed it exactly there, because the point is, how long do we believe in what they are doing as individuals and also as a collective? Because they're trying to do a positive thing, but they're not getting points. This is a difficult one for me to predict. And actually, I think, ironically, bear in mind my predictions so far, I think this is the most difficult one to predict, because I think Bournemouth are very capable away from home of getting 2 goals early, and all of a sudden they're going to win 4-0 because they're that good when they play well. But Ipswich, if they show resilience, might be able to nick this. So I don't know where to sit. So I'm going to sit in the middle on the fence with my big arse, as you know, Chris, and I'm going to say 2-2.
Oh, he's gone for Desmond.
I've gone for a Desmond. I've got to have a Desmond at some point, you know, so I'm going to go for a Desmond in this one. Yeah, 2-2.
I will go next. I think Ipswich will score, so I'm going to give them a goal. But I do like the cut to Bournemouth jib. I really do. They were unlucky. They lost to us, but then again, you know, beating them is not for everybody, is it? Arsenal, Manchester City. But I just think that they are good. They're well run. I'm going to go 3-1 to Bournemouth. And I think Ipswich, I'm sorry, this is another game that you have to look to be winning. You know, the Crystal Palace one, Brad, I think that was a huge kick in the teeth for them, no pun intended. I think that was a game that they should have at least got a point out of. I didn't watch, I don't know how they played, but to lose to Palace, that, look, you know, you said, I think the other day, we've not lost to anybody that's in or around us or below us, you know, and those are the games that you need to be winning, and those are the games that Ipswich Town aren't winning.
Yeah, it is, and I kind of agree with the sentiment that both of you've gone off. How much longer can Ipswich keep going, draw a game, lose 3, sneak a win, lose, draw? You know, getting, you know, like I said, Chris, we haven't lost the teams in and around us. That was the difference between us potentially doing okay this season and staying up, and 2 seasons ago where we were causing a shock here and there, but then we were losing to Everton. We were losing to Southampton, who did the double over us, and they were the worst team. At least they're consistent. They've been the worst team again second time around. But they can't do the double over us because we have already beat them this season. And that is ultimately what you look at to why you went down or why you potentially stayed up by the skin of your teeth. Where did you pick the majority of your points? And it's okay beating Spurs when they're Spursy, and it's okay beating, you know, Manchester United, nicking a point off them. But if you're losing to a Crystal Palace, if you're, you know, and not just that, you're losing other games in and around playing your Leicesters and your Southamptons, which they only drew against as well. That gap that Leicester have above them, and I know Everton have also increased that gap. Palace now are starting to increase that gap. It suddenly looks a lot bigger than it is, especially over the next couple of weeks if it gets worse for them and they don't pick up points. They were horrid against Palace. at home, you actually saw the frustrations in the crowd started to get to them. You know, again, I didn't watch it. I don't know what the stats were of the game, but by the sounds of things, it wasn't easy on the eye to watch. It wasn't much created. An Ipswich fan or a Palace fan might tell me different. I just don't know how many more draws they've got in them. Ipswich before they start. The camel's back's going to break after a defeat at some point during this busy Christmas month, where they'll just look towards the Championship. And I hate to see it because I'm like you. I love a dark horse, if you will, like Luton last season. But I'm going to go for one more draw for Ipswich for the safe bet. I'm going to go Ipswich 1.
Desmond, you know you want to go for a Desmond.
Oh, I'm not that optimistic. Ipswich have 2 goals in them, so no, 1-1.
1-1. Boring. Boo.
Just so you guys know,
Chris, I think you've been the braver one and probably got more chance of getting points out of me and Tom and that one.
can I just raise that? You know, you suggested, Brad, I put that bet on for Everton and Southampton. It's 51-1 for that to happen.
Do it.
You didn't do it to give it to charity if you win.
Well, that's what I was thinking, because
charity.
I don't particularly have an interest in betting much nowadays.
No.
I've grown up a little bit, but I'm thinking like put £1 on it and donate it.
Yeah, give it to the and I can never pronounce it, but give it to the Foxes Trust.
Yeah. Because and also that there is like obviously what they call, bless them, is it whoever does the on the street stuff for Leicester as well? The fans group. Yeah, I'd love to support that as well. So so that's what I'll say to you guys right now. I will place a £1 bet on it, and if we win, it's going to charity. Okay.
There you go. Good man.
I will cover my madness for everyone.
Yes, we won't laugh at you quite so much now. That's a 2:00 kickoff, but it isn't on telly. But there you go. They've gone for the win. 2 draws there. 2 Desmonds, as Tom's got. You see, you had a go at me, Brad. I think you can come back every week, Tom.
I appreciate that.
What you were saying.
Where was your second Desmond?
He went Man United Forest.
I went 1-0.
Yeah.
1-0 for that.
Yeah. No, you didn't, you silly fool.
I think it's
went
1, mate.
2-2.
I think it's 1. Yeah.
You went
1-0.
That's when we
You went
celebrated your
1-0.
Desmond call.
And I went 2-2.
Yeah, you silly fool. Oh, God.
See, he's trying to pass his results off on me now.
I know, right? But, I'm figuring out how he's got loads of points this week. He's just been doctoring them round.
Brad, on Monday, he'll turn around and go, I predicted Everton to win 1-0. And I was like, no, I did. And he would just gaslight me.
I
was preparing my acceptance speech for the round of applause. And I did, because you would never do this, would you, Brad? Write something down in the wrong column.
I definitely would, because I've done it before.
I know. That's why I said it. That's what I did. I have corrected it there. But you're quite right. Ipswich have got 7 draws. No, they're not. They've got 6 draws. The same as Palace. And then there's a couple of teams, Everton and, funnily enough, Brighton, that have got 5. But draws isn't going to... They this season, Ipswich can't do what they did in the Championship. It was always keep coming back at the end, John has said Ipswich need to win. So he's gone 2-1 to Ipswich. And Craig has gone Ipswich 1, Bournemouth 3. So next up would normally be Leicester Brighton, but we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that yet. We want to save that till the end. So we're going to another London derby. Hopefully Brad's still with us. Sunday 4:30 kickoff. So this one is on telly, and it's Tottenham at the Toilet Bowl are hosting Chelsea, who are riding high in second. Brad, which way do you go with this one?
Well, Chris, I'm just going to save you the details of what I go into delve into when I talk about both teams. You've had a 2-2. Tom's
here we go.
It's the 2015-2016 title decider, but this time it's going to be 2-2.
Whoa! Everybody, just notice Brad has gone for a 2-2.
There you go.
2-2. There you go. Well done, Brad. I did actually I was keeping a running total of the how many.
It's 7 to me. This is updated. It's 7 to me, 10 to you, and if we're including Tom's on to Dave's, it's now 5 for Dave and Dave Jr.
I think we should call them guests. Yeah, we'll put them together.
Yeah. The guest has 5. You have double figures, and I've just gone up to 7. I've been avoiding them for a few weeks.
It's done.
You've done it. Well done, sir.
Wow.
Well done.
I don't want to show you too much. Obviously, got my account details.
Yes, funny, I've got a scanning device of nearby. I was just like that with my phone off camera. Just
Dude, how many times have people done that? They've shared like an accumulator win they've done. They've shared a picture on social media. Someone else scanned the barcode and cashed it.
Picture and crop it so you see what you need to see.
Yeah, all you need to know is there'll be £51 of charity if we win it. All right.
That's nice to see. So if anybody has pinched it, you're robbing charity. Tom, are you going to go for another Desmond? How do you see this one going?
This is actually the most impossible game to call because Tottenham play a high line, which Chelsea, in theory, could take advantage of. But Chelsea don't seem to really attack high lines. They're more than happy to, pick their moments. So I'm going to go for a controversial 0-0.
Ooh. Chris, the gap's been left open for you there, mate. Come on, 0-0, 2-2. So, Chris...
Well, the thing is, they always score in every game, so there's got to be a game where they both don't. And I just kind of feel like the way they line up against each other, it's not going to make a good game.
I actually said when I was talking to the West Ham fan, Rob, I said, well, you lost 5-2, we lost 4-1, so our game's going to be 0-0, isn't it? But look, first of all, Spurs. We know what Spurs are. They're 4th in the form table, but they lost to Ipswich. They beat Villa. They beat Man United, I'm guessing that. No, Manchester City they beat, but then they'll only go and draw with Fulham. It's just like everybody always says, the phrase Spursy is there for a reason. Chelsea, I have been very impressed with this season. I thought Enzo, I made a joke at the start of the season that he'd be out of a job by now, but he'd always got panto work. But he has done really well. In the form table, they are joint top with Arsenal and Liverpool on points. On goal difference, they're top with Arsenal, both of them on +8. Look, in the Premier League, they're second as well on a better goal difference than Arsenal. Still 7 points behind Liverpool, but they haven't lost in 5, Chelsea. I don't think that Enzo could be doing, if he'd stayed at Leicester, that we'd be sat second in the table. I think you've got to look at their players and go, yeah, different level there, and that's why it's working. He could be the manager to finally change things around for Chelsea. And yeah, good luck to him. Good luck to him. Whatever we think about the way he left, he got us back up here, which we needed to do. So you've left a door open for me, guys, haven't you?
We have.
And I'm going to go. Look, I've written yours down in mine again, Tom.
Just trying to scalp points.
Crossing your 0-0 out. I am going to go Spurs 1. Don't get excited. Don't get excited. Because I am going to go Chelsea 2.
That's close. You ruined the fun, Chris. It's Christmas.
It's a very hard game, this one. This game the entire weekend is very difficult because Spurs, if they play the high line well, they could probably score some goals. But Chelsea could punish this sort of team. So my 0-0 was probably the most bonkers prediction of the lot.
More than likely, to be honest with you.
Yeah, but I might as well. I
think there are goals in it, but I just think Chelsea at the moment, they're clicking.
Agreed.
He's got his team. When he's in Europe, he plays a completely different team. So his Premier League, squad aren't knackered. They've only lost 2 all season. They've drawn 4. Look, they scored 31 goals and they've only conceded 15.
Yeah, I just think there's got to come a point where there's a 0-0 for him. I mean, at every point in the season, there is a game where a team has a 0-0, and I think this, I don't see where else it comes from, so I'm going to lean on this one. But I know it's a controversial angle. Don't get me wrong, but that's why I put the pound bet on for the fucking charity.
I actually was tempted with a 3-1, but I put 2-1 down. If I change it to 3, it will be 2-1.
You know what, Chris? You were looking down, and I went like that to Tom, as if to signal to the people watching. I thought you was going to go 3-1 as well.
John has gone. He's gone. Well, he's agreed with you two in as much as he filled that gap. He saw the gap and he went for it. He's gone.
Good old John.
Yeah, good shout.
And Craig completed it. The 4 line, the back 4.
Well, he did because he's gone at 3-3. So we've got a 0-0, a 2-2, a 1-1, and a 3-3.
3-3 is not a bad shout. It's not a bad shout because there's so many penalties potentially in this game from attacking forwards, and 3-3 is not a bad shout either.
It's not. No. Right. That's the Saturday Super Sunday game on Sky. Monday Night Football. This is going to be interesting.
What a game.
2 teams that are really in the doo-doo. Like I say, West Ham are hosting Wolverhampton Wanderers. I know we had, Gary O'Neill's lover from Craig from up the cherries in all departments. He thinks that Gary O'Neill's doing a fantastic job there. He seemed to have turned it around, didn't he, Brad? He was struggling, and we all saying, well, look at the hard games he's had to start with, and then he suddenly turned it around, had that great win, and I can't even remember who it was against. Against Bournemouth,
Southampton.
wasn't it? Yeah, and then Everton.
Southampton. They beat Southampton, lost to Bournemouth.
Oh, sorry, they did. You're right.
Yeah,
sorry.
they beat Southampton, mate.
Yeah. And they lost to Everton. Sorry, Wolves. Yeah. So they lost to. They beat Fulham. Sorry, that was it. Yeah. So maybe that pixie dust has worn off. West Ham, like I said, it was on West Ham's massive channel earlier, and they were so pissed off because David Gould, or whoever it is that owns West Ham, has said that. Well, they call him Floppy Tigo, which I do find mildly amusing. But Floppy Tigo will be in the dugout for this game, and they are absolutely and so peed off. I kind of get it because look at us, if we'd have held on to Cooper, maybe we wouldn't have lost quite so badly against Brentford. Who knows? But one of these two, I think this is the sacking game. Because I think whoever loses this, the manager afterwards could go because they've got then the rest of the week to sort of, And look, we did it with Rude. We knew they were talking to Rude. They didn't do that whole thing of making a phone call and appointing him in 5 days. They didn't speaking to him. They were, and said, look, this is going to happen. And I think West Ham and Wolves might well be doing the same. This could be. I'll go first on this one because you know what? No, I'm not. I'm going to go last.
that is your ability as host. You can choose.
Yes.
Yeah.
That fence is very comfy at the moment. Brad, which way are you going?
Well, I mean, from my dad's perspective, he's a Wolves fan and he hates Lopetegui for what happened with him at Wolves. So the irony could be that Wolves win this game and
Lopetegui derby, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a Lopetegui derby from me.
I love the angle.
So he would very much love to see Wolves win, obviously, that for starters, but then Lopetegui gets the sack as West Ham manager. And it's already been pretty much stated by both sets of owners that this is the game. If you don't win this game, you're getting a sack. So how ironic would it be if they drew and both got the sack?
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And both teams will be afraid to score and concede lots of goals, leaving themselves open. So I'm going to say it's last on the list for a reason. There might be 2 W's in their names, but I'm going for a big fat L for both managers, both getting a sack in a bore draw, 0-0.
Well, can I say when I said I was going to go first, That's what I was going to go for.
Oh no, that's it. Confirmed. You heard it here first. He said 0-0. Chris 0-0. You've got to stick with
No,
Chris
no,
there.
no, no,
No.
no,
That's
no.
the rules. I'm afraid.
I think you've applied my logic for the Chelsea Tottenham game to a better game. Really, I think you have, Brad. I think that's not, that's interesting. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's almost like stage fright, isn't it?
Mate, coming up with that intellectual.
Oh, bless you. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I've got an
Brad,
IQ of over
I
2.
wouldn't
so
say
it's
Brad
all
was
right.
that intellectual, to be honest with you.
I was surprised I said the word intellectual right, to be honest with you.
My point is that like you say, it's kind of a game where you can get stage fright because both teams need to win, but also both teams can't afford to lose. So you kind of got to be tighter. Wolves have been conceding goals and also scoring. West Ham have been scoring, but also conceding goals. So I kind of agree with your logic here, Brad. If you don't mind me interrupting you, Chris, I know you're going to go last anyway. I'm going to go. Oh, it's so difficult. What's my gut saying? 2-1 Wolves.
Ooh, right.
But it could be 2-1 West Ham. I'm going to go 2-1 Wolves. I just think they love O'Neill enough to get the result.
Come on, Chris, 0-0. Come on, let's hear it.
I was going to say, what is Tom's gut saying? Probably.
It says a lot of that every day, my friend. Thank God for oat milk.
Look, Brad, I agree 100% with everything you said. And I never thought I'd ever say that. But I do. Somebody's just put in the chat El Sacchio. Definitely. I think this is going to be a very, very boring game. But what the West Ham fans were saying is Lopetegui knows that he plays the high line and he shouldn't be playing that high line, but he hasn't changed it. He keeps going for that high line. So I think for that reason, there will be a goal or 2 or 3 or 4 in there. But I do think it will end up as a draw. You can see where I'm going with this, can't you?
2-2.
Don't say you're like a rabbit in the headlights. You'll scare him. Don't say it.
I think it will be a draw. And I think both managers, that won't be any good for either of them, to be honest with you. West Ham, I mean, like I say, their fans just want, I haven't seen any Wolves channels, but the West Ham fans, absolutely. They want Potter. They think it's going to be Potter. They think that's the club that Potter wants. I am going to go 1-1.
Oh, but get out.
Can I say something here? I mean, like, if they end up with Allegri, it's kind of the
If
same.
I said no, you'd still say it, wouldn't you?
Yeah, of course I would, Chris, because you know what I'm like. I've got big testicles. Allegri, if he comes in from who was an ex-Juventus manager, isn't it? The same. This is what gets me about West Ham. They're kind of reaching potentially for similar things because that was the main room. They're going to go for this chap. So I kind of don't. I kind of look at David Gold like a Del Boy. As we all do. And it's kind of like he's trying to, bring in.
Del Boy like that.
No, I know. And that's kind of the bad thing about it, right? Because Del Boy is a comedy character. It's kind of better. But my point is that, like, he's going to bring in a manager higher than Lopetegui who's probably going to fail even more, which is kind of a big problem, right?
We know that big names don't always succeed. Look at Everton.
The only one that has is Claudio.
Yeah, and look at Man United. Bringing a big name in does not guarantee that you're going to start winning games or winning trophies.
No,
they got rid of Moyes, and they're still staying. And as you know, my Iceland delivery man's a West Ham fan, and I always have a chat with him when he brings me food. He said he had to go. Moyes had to go. As much as they loved him for everything he'd done. It's like us, I suppose, with Rodgers. We loved him for winning us the FA Cup. And I will never, if ever I meet him, I will shake his hand for that. But he had to go. You know what I mean? And everybody comes to that stage. The problem is you've got to be careful what you wish for. And I think West Ham, they've really got to get it right. We don't know if we've got it right yet. But, yeah, I think West Ham... And they've got to get out of this sort of like, well, we want to play a certain way. No, you want to bloody win games. You know what I mean? It's
a run before you can walk. I mean, I know they won the Europa Conference League. I mean, that's kind of where their confidence has come from. But West Ham, the last time they got relegated, got caught out in exactly the same style. They were a mid-table Premier League team, who all of a sudden made a bad managerial choice and they ended up getting relegated absolutely from nowhere.
They need to be careful of not doing a Stoke.
Yes.
The team that I called the most boringest team in the Championship last season. That was they had Tony Pulis, they had Mark Hughes, and it wasn't easy on the eye, but they were up in the top half of the Premiership. I think a couple of seasons even knocking on European door. Under the new regime, they may have even got a few seasons in Europe out of it. And the fans bemoaned it. We want fancier football. Stop playing it long to Peter Crouch and all this crap. Right? And what happened? They went fancy, they went down, and they've been drab, boring, and depressing the Championship ever since. Like you said, just be careful what you wish for. I was watching a podcast yesterday, and I'm assuming the guy who was talking was a West Ham fan. He goes, the problem with us is, and that maybe gave it away, he was a West Ham fan that he referred to as us, but he went, the problem with us is we get bored of a steady Eddie in Sam Allardyce and a steady Eddie in David Moyes. We don't appreciate what it is they actually do for us. Like you said, win by any means and do well with us. Both managers got them into Europe. One won the Conference League, for crying out loud. And then the managers kind of go, yeah, okay, let's be fancy with our next managerial choice. And it all goes Pete Tong. I mean, Ancelotti at Everton, did he really do much better than the guy who was in there previous? Wasn't it Silva who was there? Who was Fulham? So, I mean, he didn't really pull up any trees, and he brought in some talent to that squad, and it still couldn't work. So, yeah, maybe this is a season where West Ham fan goes, thank God there's Ipswich and Southampton and potentially Wolves in this division.
You've got to be careful, or they could be very well drawn into it. John says there, El Sacchio, as we said, 2-1 to West Ham, and Craig has gone Wolves 1, West Ham 2.
This is also where you feel like both sets of fans can't win, because if their team wins and the other one gets a sack, they'll be like, damn it, that should have been our manager.
Yeah, exactly.
I think the thing is, there's no home advantage here, because the last few home games West Ham have had, they've gone 1 or 2 down, and the fans have walked out because they're that annoyed. So my point is, if Wolves go 1-0 up, I think they'll win. And everyone's kind of like going, well, West Ham will win at home. I think you're neglecting how toxic that home atmosphere is. And that's important, right? Your home atmosphere has to be good. We've moaned about it at Leicester. We've been in the crap, haven't we? You've got to uplift. So I think that's West Ham's biggest problem in this home game, really.
Well, talking about Leicester, coming up next.
Hello, Matt Elliott here.
Hi, Alan Smith here.
Hey guys, Ian Hume here.
Hi everybody, Jerry Taggart here.
Be sure to watch
Chris and Leicester Till I Die TV
for all the latest Leicester City news and information.
You can also subscribe on YouTube and various social media channels
for the latest updates and news on Leicester City Football Club.
Come on, you foxes!
Indeed, and thank you to the ex-players for doing that for us. Leicester hosting Brighton. Everybody, well, not everybody, but all the pundits were going, look, doing the usual talking bullshit, to be honest with you. Jamie Carragher, obviously big mates of Cooper, said he was doing a good job. I normally like Simon Jordan on TalkSport. I love him. I love his attitude. He calls it as it is, and he said it's it's my opinion. I don't care what you do. And he's been there. He's owned a football club. He's gone bankrupt owning a football club. He wasn't impressed with the Ruud van Nistelrooy appointment. He thinks it was too soon. And I always think, well, how many Leicester games have these people actually watched? Probably not many. What we saw, and this is what we're going to be talking about on the show at 9 o'clock. So do tune in if anybody's doing nothing at 9. I'll be with Ant. What I saw, yes, look, West Ham were the better team. There's no doubt about it. And a West Ham fan said to me, well, on any other day we'd have beaten you. I said, yes, but on that day you didn't. And yes, you had 60%. Yes, you had 31 shots with an XG of over 3.
The most shots they've ever had in Premier League history.
But you lost because you didn't put the ball in the net. We were more clinical than you.
Exactly.
We only had, I don't know how many shots we had, but we put the ball in the net. Actually put the ball in the net 4 times, but one of those was chalked off. My worry is that was the manager bounce. Will we carry that bounce over to Brighton? Look, we know Brighton. They're seventh in the form table. They lost to Liverpool. They beat Manchester City. Then again, everybody was at the time. They beat Bournemouth, but they could only just draw with Southampton, although that was a derby. Let's be honest, that was a South Coast derby. So fair play to them. Cheers, John. All the best, mate. Take care, buddy. Thanks for popping in. So it's going to be interesting how this one goes. Leicester's form, well, we're actually 18th because we'd lost the previous three. But look, it's new. Everybody gets a new. There's a very good article I actually put up today about, and I think you commented on it, Brad, in Facebook about Rude two of them, Rude getting the best out of Daka, and also why he felt indeed he got man of the match. Both those players turned it around. Tom, though, was that it? New manager bounce? Are we back to maybe back down from cloud nine for this one?
I hope not, Chris. I hope it'll be another step forward. I'm going to go for a brave 2-0 win for Leicester. And I know, I'm a controversial character, and actually I'd argue that's a controversial result in theory against Brighton. But I just feel with the home crowd behind us, after that home result against West Ham, where they literally battered us, had the most shots they've ever had in Premier League history, and we still had the energy to get the result. And also, Rude's undefeated in 21 games now in all competitions, right? Across many clubs. I don't think he wants that to end yet. I don't want it to end yet. I want to believe in this. So, no, I'm going to go Leicester to win 2-0. And that's a brave prediction, I know. I mean, a draw would be a fine result, but I still think we can probably win this with our home fans. So, 2-0.
I mean, Brad, when you look at this game, what I like about Ruud van Nistelrooy, he came out in his post-match conference and obviously he just won his first game in charge, and he'd taken what, let's be honest with you, was a huge big pile of shit that was played against Brentford, and he turned it round into that. And all right, we were under pressure. The busiest person on that pitch would have been the groundsman afterwards, collecting all the body parts, because Leicester players left their bodies on that pitch. They would throwing themselves in the middle of it. I think Vestergaard got one in the groin when he went in sliding tackle to get one out. They went for it. It was what we wanted to see. It's what we've been saying all season. We needed to see a performance. A win, great, but we wanted to see the performance. And yes, we were under the cosh. And sometimes it is about defending, and maybe if we'd been playing Liverpool, we wouldn't have got that result. But he actually came out and said, but we didn't play very well. As in, West Ham were the better team. There's still a lot of things to do. But if he can do that in 2 days, what can he do in 7?
Well, that will be...
Have a day off because he's done what God did in the other 6.
Yeah, well, I mean, that will be the question Leicester fans will be hoping is a positive answer to it. And look, I think the way Ruud van Nistelrooy is and the way people have spoken about him, apart from those suck jobs like Chris Sutton, who Gordon Bennett... I mean, you're talking about the guy who predicted Ipswich to win, even though they hadn't won a game all season when they played us. Shock horror. He's just a knob. I hate Chris Sutton. I hope he was drinking his tears when we made it 3-0 against West Ham. Honestly, I've never seen someone with such hatred for a team that's got nothing to do with him at all. Just because now we're the more talked about side of his precious Blackburn Rovers team to win a Premier League. Cried more, Sutton. But anyway, I'm going to stop sitting on the fence about how I feel about people and talk about this game.
Please do.
I feel like what we saw against West Ham, there was a lot of positives about it. Not just the way we played, not just the way we defended, but the things that manager was saying. He was saying, look, in 2 days they've done really well. Yes, there were some mistakes, but I've got more time to work on it. And I think you're only going to see Leicester improve. Are you still going to see Leicester frustrate you and lose games they probably shouldn't? Yeah, I'm sure we are this season. It's not going to suddenly become a season where we start racing up the table and winning every week. No. However, maybe I'm being influenced by the halftime score at the moment because Fulham are beating Brighton 1-0. And, Chris, they're in London right now. They're going to have to travel back. They will probably have a rest and recovery session on the Friday. They then got to travel to the King Power, on the Sunday, And, they only get a day to hit the training ground and kind of rotate players, knackered players. Will he play a full strength squad? I think it's a perfect time to be playing Brighton, even if they do end up turning this around, because they're going to have to work even harder in the second half to come away with 3 points now away at Fulham. And I think that's perfect, because getting Leicester and seeing exactly what Rude will get this team playing like in its truest form, Chris, is going to take 3 or 4 weeks. And it's not going to be Sunday against Brighton. It's not going to be the week after against Newcastle. You're probably going to see it around Wolves game, and ironically, we've got Man City and Liverpool afterwards. But
sorry, can I just say, Brad? Sorry, but Christmas is coming.
I know. I'm waiting to New Year's Eve to give you yours. Don't you worry, mate. I'm actually waiting for the full-time results so I can give you my prediction.
None of us have got Christmas lights in the background, boys. By the way,
I know, right?
We need to sort this out for next week's show.
That's his nightlight turned on. His med lights turned on. What I'm doing? I'm actually going for a Christmas. You know what? You've said Christmas. I'm going to use that here. I'm going for a Christmas miracle. Leicester are going to keep a clean sheet. Leicester City 3, Brighton 0.
Wow. Wow. You've been at the egg.
If you score against West Ham, anything can happen, Chris.
I love the confidence, Brad. Same as me, mate.
Everybody scores against West Ham. That's the thing. We just happened to score a few more than they did. I think you've been at the eggnog. I've got to say hi to Locks from Blue Tinted Glasses. Nice to see you, mate. A Leicester channel. Check that one out. And Tony Smith said, I love this 4-4-2 belief. You know what I love about it? And it's a very good point. You took my my comments away there about the fact that it's Thursday and they're playing us on the Sunday and we played a couple of nights ago. So I think that will have an effect, yes. I got to the point where I was so desperate for points in the prediction league that I was actually predicting Leicester to lose. But I knew that I'd get at least 1 point in my prediction league because we were losing every single week. Now I'm back to the point where, you know what, we could do this. I just think there's that. If Rude, and obviously he's got his new coach there, which is the coach and goalkeeping coach who was talking to with the beard. If he can do that in 2 days, what the bloody hell can he do in a week? And he will not let them. He won't let that win go away. Look, they're coming out and going like, "Yeah, great, we've won." Blah, 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 blah. However, we didn't play well in parts, and we were holding on.
I was going to say, Chris, you nailed it there, because I think the nice thing he said in the press conference afterwards was how it wasn't a complete performance, and there's a lot of managers who would have gone, "We won, that's great, that's all we want," and they would have completely ignored the process of performing.
Cooper would have done that. Cooper would not have acknowledged that.
Exactly, and that's the problem we got ourselves into, right?
Yeah.
And we knew we weren't expecting any level of performance. We were trying to literally be rats or raccoons of the world, trying to scavenge points out of frigging dustbins.
Yeah.
That's literally what we were doing. So no, completely agree with you there. I think that's a very good point. That's underrated.
And just going back, thank you. And just going back to what Simon Jordan was saying, that he said that Rude got the job on those 2 Manchester United results.
I don't care if he did or not.
He's actually come into this job with more managerial experience of senior teams than Enzo had.
Yeah. And this is the guy, I mean, let's be honest, who would happily say that Leicester are entitled, but if Crystal Palace were all of a sudden to be in the top 6 when he was owning them, and people said they were entitled to finish in the top 6, he'd kick off.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And you just know that if he'd been appointed Man United manager and they hadn't gone for Amaron or whatever his name is, they'd be going, "Oh yes, it's a club legend. He'll inspire them. He'll drive them on forward. It's a great appointment. Yes, it comes with risk, but it's Manchester United. They'll bow down and suck his toes and everything."
Yeah. I've had Man United fans.
I wonder what you were going to say then. I was panicking.
Well, I made sure I rephrased it for.
I've had Man United fans say they preferred to have Rude than they having Amarin.
Yeah, that's exactly.
And look what he did at Man United in a couple of days. He took a team that was completely disjointed, And if you want to say we're actually performing worse than we were, because we weren't expected to perform well. Man United have got world-class £100 million players, etc. there.
Apparently.
And they were well underperforming, and he turned that, all right, so they played Leicester twice. But,
Yeah.
But anyway, there is a prediction in here somewhere.
Sorry,
and
guys.
Gone, and I would have had it out a lot earlier if you two hadn't kept interrupting.
You've got a show in 20 minutes and we're holding you up here intentionally,
There
Chris.
you are.
No, I didn't know that. Yeah, let's keep going. So anyway,
Yeah, let's keep going, Brad. Let's just keep winding him up.
So, anyway, I have gone, be pleased to know, if they think they're coming back in, they've got another thing coming. I have gone Leicester City 1.
You might want to mute my microphone.
I'll behave.
Oh, it's descended into chaos, this hasn't it? I'm the only guy here now. Hello.
I have gone in, because you probably didn't hear that, because Brad, for the last time, was using his eject button. He's actually going to lose that power soon.
I was going to say, he's got admin rights. That was a daft move, mate.
It was. He's not got them. This is his last night of having them. Make the most of it, Brad. No, joking aside, I've gone Leicester City 2, Brighton 1, because I do think I've got that belief back that I can actually start predicting my team to win. Although West Ham, obviously, I did predict 3-1.
You did. So you know what? Again, Chris, you can have 3 points if we get the win. I don't care.
Yes, guys. Thank you very much.
Can I raise one final question before we end, Chris?
As long as
it's a small question. A small question.
19 minutes.
No, it'll take a minute. Okay, if we stay up this year, are we going to have a staff party which we live stream on the channel? We should do it.
That'd be brilliant, wouldn't it?
Oh, we brilliant.
We get banned within 20 minutes, especially if we had certain guests on like Paddy.
Exactly, it'll be brilliant. It'll be like chaos. It'll be like Jackass. We should do it. So like next May or June, we should aim, if we stay up, for a staff we live stream, which is the biggest show this channel's ever done, with everyone there having a few beers.
Actually, Tom,
come on.
I do a show with Paddy, funnily enough, from the pub, talking balls, and we're going to do a Christmas special talking snowballs.
Yeah.
Oh, who needs an advertising agency when you've got me? But I do like the idea of actually doing a Christmas show with all of us on, getting some drinks in, and
okay.
And I don't know.
It's not far. It's not far for me, mate. You know, I mean, it's probably. I mean, to be fair, actually, where you are, Chris, it's probably just similar for me and Brad. It's not too far. It's 2 hours.
I actually wasn't inviting you to my house.
Well, I was going to say, I thought you were putting us all up, but we're going to have a big sleepover in the front room.
Yeah, that's just what I thought we were having glasses.
You are not.
Yeah.
Just
remember, I was going to bring the drugs.
Just remember. Oh well, he's coming. Right. I'll email you my address.
We was going to get drunk and start protest outside Aldi, Chris, after what they did.
I was going to say, it's not a Christmas do unless I'm half naked outside in Iceland.
Oh, hey, you'd give my 80-year-old neighbour Janet a thrill, I'll tell you that.
Pretty sure I met her when I used to work for Iceland.
Mind you, she's not long had a stroke, but then again, she could have another one.
It's time to end the show, Chris. I've overdone it. That's cool.
Can I just say, if anybody has ever heard of a bring a bottle party, this one's bring a spliff.
I used to live in Canada. This is far too common for me.
I've just got demonetized, haven't I? I've just got
We've ruined all the good work we've put in tonight. Anyway, Chris, I'm going to shut up because you've got places to be, mate. But it's been a great show tonight, boys.
Thanks so much, both of you. Take care.
Yes, Brad. Love you, mate.
And I will see you all. Well, if I see you first, you won't see me. Let me put it that way. Take care.
I'll wait for you to call, mate. Cheers.
Oh, county lines. Anyway, here we go. What happened? When that was supposed to be a prediction show? 1 hour 39 minutes. 1 hour of that has been Brad talking. Anyway, thanks very much, everybody. Those are the predictions. We'll probably get most of them wrong again. I will see you all tomorrow night, 7 o'clock here. Be a bit more respected. We've got Brighton coming in. The Brighton Rock Pod, Russell. He'll be joining me to preview the game. Until then, look after yourselves. Remember, please subscribe, like, and share the video. And if you are new, please consider subscribing and also consider joining. £1.99. It's great value. I'll see you all tomorrow at 7. In fact, I won't. I'll see you all in 16 and a half minutes on Ant's channel and this channel, where we're doing a joint broadcast and City catch-up. I think I've run out of things to say. I'm going off now. I don't tell you what I'm going to go off and do. I'll see you all in a couple of minutes. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching. Have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
That's all, folks.